The British national tabloid newspaper Mirror has recently published a ranking of the richest football club owners based on information provided by Forbes. In this video we'll tell you about each of them and how much money they spent on transfer during their reign. Make sure to prepare your calculators. Joe Lewis, Tottenham. 4.3 billion euros spent on transfers since 2007. 833 million euros, the most expensive transfer. Davinson Sanchez, 40 million euros. You all probably know Daniel Levy, the chairman of Tottenham who bargains for every cent during transfers and milks the maximum out of potential buyers. Levy is a partner of the club owner Joe Lewis, the 12th richest man in the UK. Together they own English National Investment Company. However, it is Lewis who is the actual head of the company. Both of them were born in Jewish families. Lewis left school after 15 to help his father run catering business. When he took the reins, he quickly expanded it by selling and buying the companies. The event, which was dubbed Black Wednesday, made Lewis, who had then started working with currency trading, a billionaire. In 2007, his company bought almost 15% of Tottenham stakes from Alan Sugar, the former chairman of Tottenham. 2 years later, they bought another 10% from another businessman, which helped Lewis become the main person of the club. By the way, Lewis also has stakes at Rangers and Slavia. Zhang Jingdong, Inter Milan and Jiangsu Suning FC. 5.9 billion euros spent on transfers from 2018. 7.5 million euros, the most expensive transfer. Andrew Gravian, 7.5 million euros. Zhang Jingdong is the president of the Suning Commerce Group, one of the largest non-government retailers in China. Suning has more than 1,600 stores covering over 700 cities of the mainland China, Germany, Hong Kong, and Japan. The operation categories include home appliances, books, cosmetics, and much more. Business in China is developing rapidly, and the recent Chinese billionaires are trying to capture the European market. In winter 2018, Zhang Jingdong bought a majority stakes at Inter Milan from Eric Doher and made his son, a 26-year-old Steven Zhang, the club's president. We'll see how things turn out. Shahid Khan, Fulham. 6.2 billion euros spent on transfer since 2013. 250 million euros, the most expensive transfer. Jean-Michel Seri, 30 million euros. Shahid Khan is an American entrepreneur of Pakistani origin. He moved to the USA at 16 and his first job was washing dishes, but eventually he fulfilled his potential and achieved the American dream. At the moment, he is the 217th richest man in the world. In 2013, Khan negotiated the purchase of Fulham with the amount estimated between 150 to 100 million pounds. But he hasn't seriously invested in the club so far, preferring to build a team step by step. He also owns the Jacksonville Jaguars of the National Football League and invests intensively in wrestling. Nasser Al-Khelaifi, PSG. 7 billion euros spent on transfers since 2011. 1,150 million euros. The most expensive transfer, Neymar, 222 million euros. Few people know that the president of Paris Saint-Germain began his career as one of the most successful tennis players in the history of Qatar. He was the first tennis player from this country who participated in the ATP Tour. After the completion of his tennis career, Al-Khelaifi began his career as a manager. At 31, he was appointed as CEO of Al Jazeera Sport, where he opened 14 new channels in just a few months and signed contracts for 50 sport events broadcasting. Nasser Al-Khelaifi has been president of the Qatar Tennis Federation since November 2008. In 2011, he was elected vice president of the Asian Tennis Federation for West Asia. Nasser was progressing quickly. Al Jazeera Sport was rebranded as beIN Sport, and eventually started investing in French football through sophisticated schemes. Rumor has it that the purchase of PSG was a condition for supporting Qatar's application to host the 2022 World Cup. Al-Khelaifi owes PSG since 2011. and invests a lot of money in it, having built up connections with the French government and the royal family of Qatar. Stan Kroenke, Arsenal. 7.3 billion euros spent on transfers from 2018, 2.5 million euros. The most expensive transfer, Denis Suarez, 2.5 million euros. It's kind of a confusing story. Stan Kroenke has been on the board of directors of Arsenal Holdings since 2007, but has started gradually increase his stakes only since 2009, despite the fact that the majority stakes had been bought by Alisher Osmanov. In winter 2018, he bought out the stake of Osmanov for £550 million and became the sole owner of the club. Therefore, his largest investment so far is renting Denis Suarez from Barcelona for 2.5 million euros. Kroenke has built his empire in the American construction business, but now he's investing in sports. He owns the Denver Nuggets basketball club, Colorado Avalanche hockey club, and Colorado Rapids football club. Roman Abramovich, Chelsea, 9.4 billion euros. Spent on transfers since 2003, 9.925 billion euros. The most expensive transfer, Kepa Arrizabalaga, 80 million euros. Roman Abramovich made a career in the 90s when he started business in oil and gas industry after he closed his company, which produced toys from polymeric materials. At the age of 28, together with Boris Berezovsky, he started building his capital, becoming one of the most successful Russian businessmen and even receiving the post of Chukotka's governor. In 2003, Abramovich bought Chelsea for £140 million and moved to the UK for a permanent residency. 2 years later, he sold his stake at Sibneft to Gazprom and resigned as governor after several unsuccessful attempts in 2008. Abramovich pays a very closely attention to everything that happens at the club. He's the person who takes decisions in terms of transfers and the appointment of head coaches, and his protege Marina Granovskaya is responsible for other management decisions. Philip Anschutz, Los Angeles Galaxy, 11.4 billion euros, spent from 1996 on transfers, 20.6 million euros. The most expensive transfer, Giovanni Dos Santos, 6.35 million euros. Anschutz is one of the most prominent American magnates and one of the largest philanthropists in the world, who donates huge amounts of money to medicine and education. He owns and controls a lot of companies in the energy industry, real estate, transportation, cinema, newspapers, and sports. In short, he makes money out of everything he deals with. Anschutz can be considered a father of football in the United States. It was he who was among the main co-founders of the MLC, took part in creation of a number of teams, including Los Angeles Galaxy, on the development of which focused. Despite this, he owns shares in a number of American football clubs. In general, Philip is actively developing sports in the United States. He builds stadiums, entices foreign investors, and such like. What's really interesting is that he doesn't invest a lot of money in transfers, focusing primarily on the American tradition of drafts and promoting the league by inviting football stars over 30. By the way, it was he who brought David Beckham to the US. The Agnelli family, Juventus, 11.8 billion euros, spent on transfers since 1923. Approximately 1.850 billion euros. The most expensive transfer, Cristiano Ronaldo, 117 million euros. It's difficult to say how much money the Agnelli family spent exactly during the ownership of Juventus, as the approximate transfer cost began to be made only in the 80s. Before that, a player could be easily bought for a couple of TV sets or a set of balls. The Agnelli family has been owning Juventus since 1923. This is one of the most affluent families in Italy, who also owns the famous Fiat concern. By the way, the old Signora nickname is given to the memory of the Agnelli seniors who have owned the club for so many years. The second club's nickname is the Bride of Italy, due to the large number of migrants who moved to Turin from the south to get to work at the Fiat factory and became fans of Juve. In 2010, Andrea Agnelli was appointed chairman of the board of directors of Juventus. He He recaptured the club its old glory, reorganized a clear top-down governance, and built a new stadium. It's unlikely that he'll ever sell the shares of his home club. Moreover, it's unlikely that anyone of Agnelli's heirs will do it either. Sheikh Mansour, Manchester City, 19.4 billion euros. Spent on transfers since 2008, 1,670 million euros. The most expensive transfer, Kevin De Bruyne, 76 million euros. Sheikh Mansour can hardly be called a fully fledged businessman. He's the fifth son of the Emir of Abu Dhabi, who was destined to high positions and a vast fortune. In the 90s, he got a bachelor degree in international affairs in the United States and returned to his homeland, where he took senior management positions. They say that his political influence is so great that in the speed dial on his phone was always the number of Barack Obama, and later, Donald Trump. In the summer of 2008, Mansour acquired 90% of the shares at Manchester City, and then he bought the other 10% a year later. He immediately reported that he would buy 22 star players, and the club would become the best in the world in the upcoming years, as in money is no object. The expenses were royal, Man City got on top quickly, but the status of the best club in the world is still far away. First, they need to win the Champions League at least. Dietrich Mateschitz, RB Salzburg and RB Leipzig, 20.3 billion euros, spent on transfers at both clubs, 1 billion euros. The most expensive transfer, Naby Keita, 30 million euros. Mateschitz owns 49% of the shares of Red Bull companies, so it's not surprising that both clubs with the RB prefix belong to him. Despite the fact that Dietrich's main passion is Formula 1, he's invested a little less than 100 million euros in Salzburg for 13 years. Also has been investing very actively in Leipzig. Since 2009, he spent 950 million euros on transfers only. Dietrich couldn't manage to study well at first, but then buckled down and moved up pretty quickly. He received the position of manager at Blendex, the German cosmetic company selling toothpaste. At the age of 40, he learned that some Thai man had developed a recipe of an energy drink, invested all his money in that business, and came up trumps. This is how the Red Bull company was set up. In 2006, Mateschitz wanted to buy a Saxon club from Leipzig, but after a series of fans' protests, he left the idea. In 2009, he made a contribution to another club that nobody knew about. Since then, the RB Leipzig has paved the way to Bundesliga and the European Cups. A similar story happened in Salzburg, where Mateschitz acquired shares in Austria and reformed it. I didn't come up easily, but everything worked out, and now Red Bull is in charge of two serious teams that exchange players regularly. For instance, Naby Keita moved to Leipzig from Salzburg, and let's be honest, 30 million euros was just a formality. However, Mr. Dittmar is not likely to make super clubs of these teams in the nearest future. Who knows, maybe it's part of his business plan. And now we have a question for you guys. The Spanish president of one of the largest chains of clothing and accessories shops owns the shares of this Spanish club. He's the fifth in the Forbes, but is not considered a fully fledged owner of this club. What club are we talking about? Write your answers in the comments section down below. Do not forget to give a thumbs up and write down your comments. Make sure you hit the subscribe button.